So the other day I asked on my story, what is the main thing that you guys are struggling with when it comes to actually building your own business? And the majority of people said the main thing that they're struggling with is time. How do you actually find the time to build your own business? When you're working in things like appointment setting, closing, maybe you're working in marketing or whatever you do currently, it can be difficult to find time to put into the business because of course, when you're working commission-based jobs, you always want to be working as much as possible to make as much commissions as possible. And I get that because that was me. And I think I'm a really good person to talk about how to build a business around having a busy schedule. I've got a pretty busy schedule. As you can imagine, RECC lightweight champ. A lot goes into preparing for these fights, weight cutting, fight camps. I have a lot to do. I have a really busy life. At the end of the day, the reason I even decided to build my business to begin with was so that I could actually live an interesting life, so that I could actually fully commit to my self-improvement and rather than just being another NPC. I look at the people around me and it's like everywhere I look, like everyone's life seems so boring and I want to have an interesting life. Something that made a lot of people laugh on my Instagram story the other day was like collecting dad law. Because that's what it's all about. While we're young, while we're grinding, yes, we're building our finances, building our foundation so that we can raise a family. But we also need to focus on that character development. We actually need to build stories and become a man that our kids can look up to, right? So that's why I even built my business to begin with. So I do a lot with my life. I'm boxing, I focus on self-improvement. I do all of these things. And having to learn how to build a business around a busy schedule is something that I had to overcome myself. So in this video, I'm going to break it down. How can you actually go about building a business when you don't have a whole lot of free time at first? So me and Joe were speaking about this the other day. One of my clients, he's a high ticket closer. He's got quite a good opportunity and was having this conversation, especially since it's just been Black Friday, right? It's just been Black Friday. You guys are getting absolutely crushed right now in sales, Christmas, Black Friday. And we had this conversation like, what do I think is the minimum time commitment in order to actually build a business? Now, I'm going to make the assumption here, like this might not be true, but I'm going to make the assumption that once your business starts to make you enough money to survive, that you would go full time on the business. You'd go all in on the business rather than continue to be a slave to commissions. And let's say that you're currently earning around 10K a month as a closer, a setter, working high ticket sales or whatever you do at the moment. Let's say you're currently making 10K a month. 10K a month can be achieved through business with 2 to 3 clients, depending on your service. It can be achieved in one client, but let's say you've just started your first high ticket offer. You've probably got some limiting beliefs that you've got to overcome. You're probably not going to be charging 10K straight away. Let's say 2 to 3 clients is what it takes to earn 10K through a business. And at that point, you can comfortably quit your job in sales. But what does it take to get 2 to 3 clients in a business? I've broke it down into the 10-hour work week. 10 hours per week to focus on your business. Now, 10 hours might seem like a big commitment, especially if you're working in sales, but everyone has 10 hours. Even if that means you've just got to get 1 hour less sleep per day and just do a little bit of extra work on a Saturday, you can make it happen. You can realistically put 10 hours a week into something if you thought it was going to change your life forever. If you're truly motivated to build your empire and provide for your future wife, your future 7 children, you want to actually live an interesting life, then you can make the time to put 10 hours a week into your business. And with 10 hours a week in your business, I've worked out that this is like the golden amount to get those first customers through the door. And I'm going to break down how you should actually allocate this time in order to get the results so that then you can allocate more time in the future. One thing that I want to talk about as well is that building a business gives you something called leverage. Leverage is the reason why we would build a business to begin with rather than just continuing to earn good money as a closer or a setter. Because as setters, as closers, you work in sales, you're probably very comfortable right now. You're probably making more than the average person. But the reason why we don't want to stay as setters and closers is because we've got no leverage. We still have to trade our time for money. But when you build a business and you start to get money coming into the business, this gives you something called leverage, where you can actually start to pay people to do things for you in order to give you your time back. So all we're really doing at this beginning phase of building a business is putting a little bit of time commitment in for us to acquire leverage. When you first start a business, the only priority is getting that first paying customer through the door. And once you've got that first paying customer, now you've got money to play with. Now you've got that leverage so that you can pay people to do things for you. And that is how a business is run. A business is not just giving yourself another high paying job. A business is a business to give you your time back at the end of the day. So now that we've spoke about the main priority here, which is just getting that first one customer through the door, now you've got leverage. How do we go about doing that? So I broke it down into the 10-hour work week. 7 hours of this 10-hour work week is going to be focused on client acquisition, because again, this is the main priority, getting that one paying customer. Client acquisition, I've got a load of videos on my channel talking about my different client acquisition systems, different ways that you can actually go about finding paying customers. Find the one that works best for you. 7 hours a week, so that's 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day is focused entirely on just getting new customers. Don't set anything, don't build a program, don't do any of the back end stuff yet. Don't even worry about it until you've got your first customer there. Straight away in the business, 1 hour every single day on client acquisition. That could be cold outreach, cold calling, it could be managing paid ads, whatever it is. Focus on one thing. So 1 hour a day on client acquisition, and realistically, if you're doing 1 hour a day of client acquisition, that could even be like, let's say, cold DMs on Instagram. Not a very high leverage activity, but if you're spending 1 hour a day on that, 20 DMs per day for 7 days, that's 140 DMs a week. Out of 140 DMs every single week, do you think you can book at least 1 or 2 calls? Yes, you should be able to book at least 1 or 2 calls, especially if you've got a sales background. Now, continue this, you're booking 1 call a week. Let's use good numbers here. 1 call a week, you've got an average close rate. You work in sales, it's probably above average, but let's just say average. That means within the next 3 weeks, you'll sign your first client, right? 140 DMs a week, 1 sales call a week. You close 1 of 3 sales calls. So that means in 3 weeks, you've got your first sale, and now you've got leverage. Now you've got money to play with where you can start to pay people to do things for you. You can hire appointment setters, you can hire marketers, you can do all of these different things, and now you've got leverage to actually continue growing the business. You've got that first customer. So 7 hours a week goes into client acquisition. 1 hour a week goes into the boring data tracking, CRM management, stuff like that. Planning the week, blah, blah, blah. 1 hour a week goes into just the boring data tracking stuff. And then 2 hours a week, I personally would recommend you allocate that to content and distribution. Just making simple reels on Instagram. They don't need crazy editing, just Instagram auto captions. Just making simple YouTube videos. You don't need any editing, just putting your value out there into the market, so that this is the stuff that can actually exponentially grow your business in the future. This is delayed gratification. You're planting the seed to grow a money tree later down the line. That is how I would actually build a business if you don't have much time to put into the business. And again, this is me. I don't have much time to put into the business, but I'm at a point now where I put in a little bit of work up front. I got some paying customers through the door, and now I have leverage. Now I have people doing things for me. I don't have to do it myself. That's how I'm able to build a business, to give myself true freedom and actually live the life that I want to live. I can focus on the side quests. I can collect dad law. I can keep collecting these belts, and I can live a good life. So here's how you do that. Literally 10 hours a week. Everyone can have 10 hours a week. If you work in sales, stop being complacent. Stop being a bitch. Level up and keep grinding, boys. Subscribe for more content like this.